It is the J.R. Joker Show. That's pretty cool, you know. It's like a special effect. Words. I'm sick and tired of the word awesome. I hate to be a negative guy. You know what I hate? I really hate you. You hate those things? I hate those things. You notice I never do that, but I am a little annoyed by the popular use of the word awesome. I might have mentioned this before, and I apologize if I repeat it. It just, you know, few things are awesome. I mean, you know, the Pacific Ocean, that's awesome, you know. A redwood tree, awesome. God is awesome. But I mean, like, yeah, people, especially young people, oh, what the hell, kids, you know, they'll, do you like mustard or ketchup? Ketchup. Awesome. No, wait a minute. Mustard. Awesome. Okay, but that'll run its course. One word that seems to be hanging in there that's really destroying part of our language is very. It destroys adjectives. Is she pretty? Oh, she's very pretty. I mean, pretty's not good enough. She's very beautiful. See that guy over there? See that guy right over there? He's very rich. I mean, isn't rich good enough? I mean, these adjectives now are meaningless unless you put very in front of them. He's very rich. So, what is rich? I mean, hello, Mr. Johnson. This is Bob down at the bank. I'm going to call to let you know that we've been going over your records, and I'm sorry to have to tell you that you are just rich. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to tell a real life story tonight because I haven't done one in a while. I am not a man of accomplishment, and I just go with the flow. But some flows have, you know, been kind of interesting, and that's what people say. So my lawyer says that the statute of limitations is up on my crimes of smuggling pot, mostly. And I was the only one in my crew that didn't do serious jail time or get killed. So anyway, after I had left living in Colombia for about 10 years, settled in Miami with my Colombian wife and kids, and I kind of don't want to do that business anymore, but I'm owed some money, and you know, I'm not that wealthy. I could use $100,000. What happened was, this had nothing to do with Colombia. What am I? Almost nothing. That's right. This had to do with India. I invested $50,000 in a boatload of hashish from India. The boat, by the way, was the sister ship of Jacques Cousteau's Calypso, which is a converted minesweeper, I think. And Jacques Cousteau, of course, became very well known in the 60s, helping out these gentle giants of the deep. And his son, what is his son's? I think it's Michel. I can't remember right now. He followed in his father's soggy footsteps. And our team kind of rented his boat, I don't know, in the off-season, and picked up an enormous load of hashish in India. And practically just, you know, as soon as the trip started, ran into trouble in the Maldives. Pirates boarded the ship, and the U.S. Navy had to steam over there and rescue the crew. Little did they know what was in the boat, and the U.S. Navy helped. Anyway, So after they got it back to the States, it was divvied out, and I had my portion to sell, and it was in California, uh, and the only market I was familiar with was New England. Uh, for years, we had been sending boatloads of pot from the north coast of Columbia, and making sure all those kids at Harvard and MIT and Boston College, etc., had weed. So and we did okay. So this time, though, it was hash, and so I had to get it from California to New England. My father had retired. He was a photo finisher. Do you know what a photo finisher is? It's a guy that develops your film. People don't do that anymore. People just shoot everything, on digital, and there's no more celluloid. There's no more film. So I knew my dad was like bored with nothing to do, and he had no income. I mean, he was retired. He had good Social Security as a World War II vet. Had, insurance, but so I can't, because he already figured out what I did. I lied to him about, why I was driving a Mercedes, and so I said, "Would you like to go out to California and drive a carload of hash and meet me in the Midwest, in Battle Creek, Michigan, and I'll take it from there, and I'll pay you 1.2 oodles of money." And he was shocked, and then he said yes, and so I got a hold of the dope. He made it from San Francisco to Battle Creek, Michigan, and we met in the middle of the woods. This is without cell phones. This is in the 80s. This is just like, it's amazing how, I don't know, it's like a military operation. Actually, it was like a military operation. So I drive it to New England, and I give it to an Irish friend of mine. I'll make up a name, Liam Kelly. It sounds Irish. It's probably so Irish nobody in Ireland has that name. But anyway, Seamus, I like that better. Seamus Kelly, O'Kelly. So he gets involved in this, and he says that he would like to negotiate the dope, the weed. And I said, well, who do you know? I mean, you're from frickin' Europe, and I know you from South America, and you think you could actually sell? He says, oh no, he could definitely sell it. I says, okay, well, I'll front it to you. How long will it take for you to sell it? Actually, I was glad to have him do it. So a month goes by, and I don't hear anything from him. So I give him a call, and it turns out that he turned the dope over to this guy who I warned him about, who's got a very bad reputation. And I don't want to use real names, but this guy's nickname was perfect, for his name was Jake the Snake. Because, I mean, he didn't call himself that. No one trusted him. So Seamus O'Kelly really didn't know anybody except this one guy. And even though I warned him about that one guy, he gave that guy all the hashish, and we weren't getting any money at all. So now I've got to go collect the money from Jake the Snake. And I'm not a violent type. I mean, you just tell by looking at me and, whatever, the way I talk and stuff I do, that I'm not a violent type. I'm not a brave person, quite the opposite. But I kind of want to get my money. So I figure out that this ruse. I had just seen well, not just seen. I mean, I remember I saw The Godfather Part 2. We've all seen The Godfather Part 2, and you remember that old bodyguard, that went to Cuba with Michael Corleone, and he strangles Johnny Ola and gets shot while trying to kill Hyman Roth in the hospital on New Year's Eve. So that old character was interesting. He was old, but he was, cold-blooded killer. Doesn't have one word of dialogue in the movie. So I take a look at my father. My father's really, he does look tough. He was a sergeant in World War II. He's a fire a submachine gun with one hand. And he's 6'2", broad-shouldered, and distinguished gray. And I guess at this time he was probably in his late 60s. So I asked him if he'd like to go be an actor. That just to walk in, we're going to go see somebody, and you just are with me. You don't say anything. You don't look at anybody. And I gave him a shoulder holster, but no gun. And I wore a shoulder holster and no gun. And I got another friend of mine, so he made an impressive appearance. And Jake the Snake ran a BMW dealership in Boston. So we just showed up, all three of us showed up. We're in sport coats, and we looked pretty dapper. And my dad, he just, went and sat there in one of the chairs in front of Jake's desk and didn't look at him, just looked like, just like I told him, And in 5 minutes, Jake the Snake gave us 4 fuel injections. This is when fuel injection was new. He gave us 730, I don't know, 531, I don't know what cubic inches. Anyway, he gave me 4 brand new BMWs, and a used BMW, a classic BMW, it's called the Bavaria. That was the only one. There's a stick shift. And let's see if I can get this right. A Mercedes 450 SEL? I don't know. I'm not very good in that. The one Mercedes I was driving was a 300D. It's easy to remember that. I think last year the Mercedes looked like Mercedes. But anyway, it's all nonsense. So we bluffed him. He thought we're going to come in and, blow him away. Right in front of all his car salesmen. And so my father drove one of the BMWs. My other guy that I brought in, he drove one of them. I drove one of them. Had my brother fly up to drive the Mercedes down. I don't know how we got. There were 3 of us, but somehow we got 4 BMWs out of town that very afternoon, that very day. So no violence, just bluffed the guy. As I was leaving in one of the BMWs, I was driving by Jake, who was standing outside, and he was just trembling. He motioned for me to roll down the window, and he said, "Who was that old guy?" And I really didn't have anything prepared to say. I just said, it's a good thing you didn't find out who he was. So anyway, that's the true life adventure for this week, for today, for this moment. And I hope you found it very exciting. Okay. Adios.